If you're doing something wrong, I'm probably going to talk about it. If you caught up in a legal story that's interesting, I'm probably going to talk about it. Let's take a look at this judge, what her behavior was when it comes to, I guess, upholding or more importantly, violating the law. And we're going to talk about it because this is an interesting story. Let's jump in. Let's get it.
National headlines emerging out of Milwaukee today. FBI agents arrested a Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge at the courthouse. Federal investigators say Judge Hannah Dugan helped an undocumented migrant avoid immigration agents trying to arrest him. 12 News cameras captured Judge Dugan leaving through a back door at the federal courthouse, now charged with 2 felonies. The judge's arrest sparking a huge protest today. We have live team coverage of this breaking story. 12 News' Nick Bohr at the Milwaukee County Courthouse downtown. Nick, that's where the FBI arrested the judge shortly after she got to work.
Now, again, these videos we watching today, outside of the ones about our main story, Little Dirk, and how he has a great chance of getting a dismissal, I haven't watched these stories. They were sent to me. I was like, you know what? These will be good. We'll check them out. How insane is this? If she's been arrested, so there's already an indictment. I didn't want to go through the indictment. I may go back and look through it because it actually might be interesting to look at. But a judge allegedly helped an undocumented migrant avoid the capture of Homeland Security by Homeland Security. That's actually insane. Like, I don't know. Was there a familial relationship? Was it her baby daddy, her boyfriend? Was she doing this out of the kindness of her heart? I got questions now. I may actually have to go look at the indictment. But let's finish checking out the story before I go too far.
Right after she arrived outside the courthouse cafeteria here, inside the courthouse on the ground floor. A short time later, as you said, she was in federal court for a hastily called hearing. I was there. Cameras are not allowed inside that hearing, but she was escorted in leg irons. Her ankles were shackled, connected by a chain as she walked into and out of court. Hannah Dugan has been on the bench for 9 years, seen here at an event for voting rights. But she's now thrust into the national spotlight for an incident 1 week ago at her courtroom in the Milwaukee County Courthouse.
Judge, anything to say about this?
Dugan hustling out a back door at the federal courthouse.
You've been on the bench for 9 years. I got so many. Let's finish playing it because I'm about to. This is going to be interesting.
Where cameras aren't allowed hours after her arrest. Federal prosecutors claim Dugan learned immigration agents were waiting outside her courtroom to arrest 30-year-old Eduardo Flores Ruiz last Friday. He's a Mexican national charged with misdemeanor battery in Milwaukee and was out of custody. According to the federal criminal complaint against Dugan, after a hearing in Flores Ruiz's case, she helped him leave court through a private hallway. A witness telling FBI agents he, quote, saw Judge Dugan get up and heard her say something like, "Wait, come with me." Despite having been advised of an administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel out of the courtroom through the, quote, jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse. When I talked to...
Yo, I hope they throw the book at this judge. I hope they throw the book at this judge for what she did. I don't even know why she did this. She's clearly, I'm assuming this guy wasn't her baby daddy. It wasn't like he had no other value to her outside of being a defendant in her courtroom who was there for what sounds like a misdemeanor at the state level. This judge needs to have the book thrown at her. I guarantee you I know who she didn't help. She didn't help anybody charged with assault on a female get out and escape any potential federal warrants. She damn sure didn't help any person who was charged with drug distribution who may have had a federal warrant and was on the verge of being picked up. Like, yeah, this lady is absolutely terrible. She must be one of them extremely liberal, like I'm talking about super liberal, like outside hugging tree type people, because this is actually crazy.
Judge Dugan here Tuesday. She didn't want to comment on the issue a few days earlier inside of her courtroom here. The doors are now locked. She's not hearing any cases, at least for now. The Milwaukee County executive says it's critical that the courthouse remains a safe place where rights are protected.
We're having a lot of conversation with many of our partners. I don't want to put too much information out there, but we're looking at every avenue that we can as it relates to protecting people's due process in this bill.
Dugan was released on her own recognizance, but is charged with 2 felonies: obstructing a federal agency
Right.
and concealing an individual to prevent his arrest.
Right.
And Nick's live with us again. Nick, federal agents eventually arrested Flores Ruiz that same day.
Right. There were actually 6 federal agents in the courthouse that day for his arrest. One of them.
We're looking at every.
Let me rewind this back.
Having a lot of conversation with many of our partners. I don't want to put too much information out there, but we're looking at every avenue that we can as it relates to protecting people's due process in this bill.
Dugan was released on her own recognizance, but is charged with 2 felonies:
Okay. Let's forward back to the end of this story, because this judge is ridiculous.
Right. There were actually 6 federal agents in the courthouse that day for his arrest. One of them did spot him in a hallway and followed him outside here, where they had a foot chase that went all the way down to the corner here on State before he was arrested. He remains in custody. Judge Dugan out of custody now, as we saw there. Her attorney, former U.S. Attorney Stephen Biskupik, saying today Dugan, quote, will defend herself vigorously and looks forward to being exonerated.
Nah, bro. I'm not feeling it. I'm not even feeling the county executive who was standing up there and he was talking about, we're going to make sure we do every effort to ensure that due process is followed. You can't even say that, because you don't know if now, will he be afforded due process? I don't know, but you can't preemptively say we are going to commit a federal crime by hiding and evading federal law enforcement authorities because we don't know if this guy is potentially going to get his due process. I just don't think a judge who's been on the bench for 9 years should be smart enough to know that there's a better way to try to resolve this. You could have called a buddy who was an immigration attorney. You could have did a plethora of other things besides trying to sneak this guy out of the an area of the courthouse that's not for public access and evade federal authorities. So shout out to you. You deserve the offenses that you got. That gentleman is in custody and he will get processed, and hopefully he does have his proper due process, and you will get processed. And I don't know how you anticipate being exonerated, because I don't know. I see intent clearly there. Was it obstruction of justice? Everything that they charged you with sounded about right and about accurate to me. Y'all let me know what y'all think. What y'all think in the comments. Am I being too Republican on this one? Like, I'm pretty much a neutral guy. I'm pretty much a in the middle guy. But this is absolutely ridiculous, and this judge actually should be disbarred for this conduct. She is charged with a felony. Once she's convicted, if you're making a decision to do this as a judge, I question your ability to objectively discern the facts and evidence before you and make the proper legal ruling. That's just me. That's my take. Y'all let me know in the comments. Am I being too tough on this one?